You're alone in your car, stuck in the same soul-crushing gridlock as every other morning. The windshield wipers are humming, but your head is louder. A flood of problems starts to pour in. Demands you haven't even faced yet. Deadlines at work that feel like ticking clocks. The mess at home that's been waiting for you for a week. The bills, the debt, the endless mental math of just trying to get by. You're even debating what you're going to have for lunch just to distract yourself. And then suddenly, you're speaking out loud to an empty car. Your thoughts became so heavy, so loud inside your skull that they simply spilled out of your mouth. You're narrating solutions to an argument you had yesterday. You're venting about unexpected expenses. You're rehearsing exactly how you're going to meet those impossible goals. And then you catch yourself. You catch a glimpse of your own eyes in the rearview mirror, and a cold thought hits you. I'm losing it. I'm actually going crazy. You let out a long, tired breath. Your shoulders drop. You feel that sudden sting of embarrassment, even though no one is watching, because nobody talks about this. Nobody admits to it. But deep down, everybody does it. At some point, we all do. We talk to ourselves in the shower, the steam carrying our voices away. We do it while brewing the morning coffee, whispering the day's to-do list. We do it on the way to work, on a walk, or while cleaning the house, often without even realizing the silence has been broken. We solve problems that might never even happen. We reenact disagreements from years ago, finally saying the perfect line. We rehearse arguments for meetings that haven't started. And every time you realize you're doing it, you feel a flicker of shame, as if it's a sign of weakness, a red flag for your sanity. Let's be honest, you've seen someone on the street talking to themselves, and for a split second, you identified with them. But in the next second, you judged them, you labeled them. But here's the truth that society won't tell you. Talking to yourself isn't madness, it's clarity. It's your brain trying to process the absolute chaos of a modern world. It's a survival mechanism for a mind overflowing with a whirlwind of worries. It's your subconscious trying to organize what you feel, but can't quite explain yet. You aren't talking to yourself just because you're stressed or exhausted. You're doing it because you're trying to find yourself in the noise. Think about it. How many times have you finally found the solution to a complex problem only after you spoke it out loud? How many times did a confusing, tangled idea finally make sense once you put it into words? How many times were conflicting emotions relieved simply because you allowed them to be expressed, even if no one was there to listen? On the way to work, at school, in the privacy of your car, or the safety of your bedroom. Talking to yourself forces you to organize the data in your head. It forces you to be clear. It forces you to confront what you actually think, rather than just feeling it as a vague, heavy pressure in your chest. When you talk to yourself, you aren't losing your mind. You are reclaiming it. You're putting your thoughts in order, creating an organized reality out of a mental fog. You're making decisions in real time. You're practicing who you want to be. You're becoming who you need to be. But society taught you to be ashamed of that. It taught you that talking to yourself is for the unhinged, for the lonely people who have no one else to turn to. And you believe that lie. But let me tell you something personal. I've talked to myself for as long as I can remember. In fact, there were times in my life where I spent more time in my own company than with anyone else. Today, I live with someone. I have a great relationship. I'm not lonely. And yet, I still talk to myself. Sometimes I do it while we're in the same house, even in the same room. We've had some hilarious moments because of it, where she thinks I'm asking her a question, but I'm really just debugging a thought out loud. I don't do it because I lack connection with others. I do it because I need that connection with myself. When I have a problem, speaking it into the air helps me see the exit. When I have a conflict with someone, talking through the why helps me find empathy for them. While the world wants you to believe that talking to yourself is a sign of being broken, to me, it's a sign of being whole. When you were taught to be ashamed of talking to yourself, you were essentially taught to hide from yourself. You started to whisper when people were around, or even when you were alone. You started to bottle up your thoughts, trapping them in a loop where they can never be resolved. But look at the history of the world. The most brilliant minds to ever live spoke to themselves. Great writers read their sentences out loud to hear the rhythm of the truth. World leaders rehearsed their speeches in empty rooms, not just to memorize words, but to feel the weight of their convictions. They don't do it because they're crazy. They do it because they know that an external voice organizes internal chaos. They know that if you can't explain something to yourself, you haven't truly understood it yet. And maybe that's why things go wrong sometimes. Maybe that's why you feel so lost or stuck. Not because you don't know what to do, but because you've never given yourself permission to talk about it out loud, without a filter, and without judgment. So stop the shame. Stop hiding in the silence of your own head. Talk to yourself, not as a sign of weakness, but as an act of courage. Because when you speak, you finally hear what you're actually thinking. And sometimes, hearing your own voice is the only thing standing between you and a bad decision. You shouldn't be asking yourself if you should talk to yourself. You should simply give yourself the freedom to speak. Explore your potential, audit your thoughts, map out your future. The real question is, what are you waiting for to start listening to what you have to say? Subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments. What do you talk to yourself about? That's the reflection for today. Stay sane and keep talking.